Hey, RetconRaider here, with special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Matthew Smith, Revenant, Alois, Anerdinwarpaint, Dragon Matrix 7, Eerie V23, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, Kazorm, Lima, Nathan Welch Jr., Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, let's get started. And welcome back to Solasta, Lost Valley, as the adventure continues. And we are on quite a doozy of an adventure right now. I thought we were headed onto another one-and-done combat sidetrack, but it has instead turned into some sort of magical mind maze. And we're currently stranded in some sort of infinite library, whilst a group of what I am assuming are bandits wander about unawares below us. I'm actually loving this location thus far. It's easily one of the more creative locales in Lost Valley, and it does feel like a nice nod back to some of the more mind-bending maps in Crown of the Magister. You know, we haven't really had a lot of that. A lot of what we've seen in Lost Valley thus far has been more grounded, you know, relatively speaking, by fantasy standards, just monster-infested swamps and jungles and whatnot. That said, we clearly have the drop on these guys, so we should, hopefully, be able to make fairly short work of them. In fact, if we can paralyze two of them right off the bat, this will barely even be a fight. Sadly, the Darkweaver is too far for us to tag him in as well.
You'll get us all killed.
Okay, we got the Hunter, but we missed the Arcanist. And casters have to be priority, so we'll have Eben and Thygor take care of that.
Wait till the next one. No!
We will get Spiegel on the Darkweaver. Those guys are range-based, so this should hopefully keep him distracted.
Clumsy.
It's actually kind of funny, because this group is almost like a mirror version, a dark mirror version of our Crown of the Magister party, minus Henrik.
Most unfortunate that.
I mean, granted, the races and genders don't match up, but you've got the broad strokes: Darkweaver, Shock Arcanist, and Ranger.
Solasta, Evo, Mummies.
You'll die like the rest.
I almost feel bad for these guys. All three of them are range DPS. Completely useless once you lock them down in melee.
Kill them all!
Natura, Encho, Malme.
Next time.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's getting away.
You have them now.
That's the mage. Hi. Your fate is looming, Darkweaver.
Solasta, Evo, Malmis.
That's the way.
Natura, Encho, Malme.
Well struck.
And the hunter's still held, so this is pretty much over.
Crush 'em.
Solasta, Evo, Malmis.
No!
And I can't help but notice that none of these guys dropped loot. I mean, I can live without vendor trash, though it does rankle me somewhat when it's inconsistent like this on the loot drops. But I was really expecting a lore object or something, like a note or a journal to reinforce who these guys were and why they were here. Alright, I guess we'll just delve ever deeper into the infinite archives. Poison recipes. That's not at all ominous. Oh, and what looks to be an abandoned camp and a modest pile of corpses. You know what? I am going to say that is slightly ominous.
Arcana, Evo, CO.
I mean, we were half expecting to find something like this, I think, but that's still got to be at least a 3 on the ominosimeter.
I guess we found our men. What an awful death.
Yep, that's our scouts. I was hoping for a slightly happier ending to this sidetrack, but I guess the Forge just can't catch a break. Forge Scout Journal. The last notes of the men found in the mysterious library. We've been stuck for days. There's nothing we can do. The library seems endless. By my count, we have explored a good 100 rooms. The few books we have read do not make any sense. Yesterday, we found a new room that we had never been through before. A good sign, perhaps? We will see tomorrow. Which I'm guessing is when the bandits caught up with them. Likewise trapped in this mysterious mind maze.
Anyone wants another book to stuff their backpack?
I really feel like Eben should mention something about the books being indecipherable. Just to jibe better with that note. Because the impression I'm getting here is that this is basically all just an elaborate arcane trap for some ancient wizard's enemies. Ooh, a magic helmet. We've got a couple of empty head slots, I think. Let's get that ID'd.
Solasta, Devo, Oculus!
Helm of Comprehending Languages. Allows you to cast the tongue spell at will. Okay. Oh, and it doesn't require attunement. Nice. You know, I was just saying, I wish we'd find more items that didn't require attunement, even if they were lower powered ones like this. We'll let Thygor hold on to that for now, and we'll keep tongues running when possible. Oh, I wonder if this will let us read the books now. I think they're just decoys, but it is worth a shot.
Anyone want another book to stuff their backpack?
Yeah, that's what I thought. And we came in over here through that gate. So I guess we're headed here next.
We should take a look, see what it's about.
Trust me, Evan, I wish we could. Oh, there's our second button. A modest selection of scrolls, nothing notable. We'll keep the fear scroll. Anything else? We've got another door in the corner. Let's hit the button first. Then we'll finish poking around. Right, right. So now those external doors should lead somewhere else when we step out of the library. And this... Ooh, chest. No, wait. Right, okay, it just looped us to the other door we found. That's cute. And somewhat predictable, I suppose. It's not so much an infinite library as it is the same series of rooms, linked together in an infinite loop. Yeah, I think it's safe to say this is some sort of, like, arcane bait trap set up by an ancient Manicalan wizard to screen out ne'er-do-wells from their visitors. Oh, yeah. And now we've got like a little office here, a little study, complete with a minor gate. Pretty modest, really, once you get past all the elaborate traps. Leather-bound book. A book that contains a series of advice for those who aim to gain influence and leadership. Really now?
Solasta, Devo, Oculus!
Tome of Leadership and Influence. Fantastic. That's a stat upgrade book, +2 to Charisma. So where does this take us? Oh. I guess we're back outside. Though this entrance is collapsed. Or maybe it's supposed to be the same entrance? We can't get in anymore. I guess this place is closed forever. Are you sure about that? I guess so. I really thought that would do something, but I guess not. Well, this was fascinating. Shorter than I would have liked, but definitely one of the more memorable adventures in this new campaign. I mean, I guess you wouldn't really want to overdo it anyway. It's a fun gimmick, but it would get old pretty quick. Let's go ahead and consume that Tome of Leadership before we head out. It's obviously going to Mora. Nice. And that did not count as a full rest. Which is fine, I guess. I'm sure we'll rest on the way back. Let's get some more poison going. And almost done with them all. 75%. We're getting there. Okay, that was a fun adventure. Solid upgrades. let's get back to Hannock. Oh, the name changed. Palace of Illusions. Full of magic and trickery, this place was probably a Manicalan palace. I think that's a callback to Crown of the Magister, where we discovered that the original Magisters of the Arcaneum were all dragons in disguise, each one specialized in a different school of magic. So this must have been like the old Magister of Illusion summer home or something, his private study. Which does jive with what we encountered back in Crown of the Magister, where we had like the Tower of Abjuration, the Mansion of Conjuration, the Palace of Necromancy. That's a fun detail. I like that. I wonder if that's actually related to what's going on in this valley. If Oronettis, or maybe one of his foes, the leader of the rebels or the leader of the Masked, is actually the Magister of Illusion, or at least has the Magister of Illusion's gem of power, because I don't think that ever came up back in the original campaign. I think in the Crown of the Magister we only saw the stones of Abjuration, Evocation, Conjuration, and Necromancy. Which means in theory we still have 4 gems floating around out there somewhere, and 4 potential Magisters still kicking around as well. I will have to mull on that. Oh, invisible stalkers. That's new. This might be problematic. But they are listed as elementals, so maybe we can just banish them. It is funny, we're running into these guys right after the Palace of Illusions. Almost feels intentional.
Arcana, Evo, Malmis! Only the last blow matters.
Also, these invisible stalkers are very bad at being invisible. They're more like semi-translucent stalkers.
Natura Conjo Malmis.
Or gelatin elementals. Gelementals.
You suck.
I don't like that. They're getting too close to Leyrin. Let's cut them off.
Again, harder.
And we can cancel out the invisibility penalty with Reckless. That's good. Let's shuffle some points. Prep for a twin banish. But we'll need to wait for the other one to get closer, of course. We only get one shot at this. Well, that's a bit dramatic. We can also just beat them to death. It'll just be a little more time consuming.
Solasta, Evo, Malmis.
Man, these guys are intent on being a clear and present danger to our poor party mascot.
I'll get you yet.
More.
Nice, nice. We might not actually need Banish after all. But we already queued it up, so we might as well give it a shot. We're gonna rest after this anyway.
Solasta, Abio, Malmis.
Okay, well. They had a 20% chance of passing their saves, and they both made it. Just how it goes sometimes, I guess. That's how we roll.
Not bad, eh?
Plan B it is. The B stands for Brutal Beatdown.
Hold firm. You've endured worse.
Solasta, Evo, Malmis.
Lucky? Perhaps.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. They sounded a lot scarier than they actually were. Though that could have been a much tenser encounter if they had actually made them invisible. Though I suppose I could also see how that would be intensely frustrating if a party wasn't prepared for it. It actually reminds me of the olden days, back when I used to still do the tabletop tournament circuit. And I sat in at a table once as a filler player, where the party was being plagued by a siren. that was charming and harassing them from invisibility. But they had no way to actually see through her invisibility, so it ultimately ended up coming down to me, butting heads with the Game Master over whether or not we could use perception to try to, like, triangulate her relative position for arcane strikes. He was very resistant to it. But we were victorious in the end. Yeah, that was an interesting event. Some of those tournament GMs can get really competitive.
Ah, you're back. From those faces, I'm not sure it's good news.
Sorry to say, we found them dead.
Oh,
The place was rotten with Badlands magic. It's impossible to get back inside.
my sister won't like this. Anyway, thanks for everything you've done.
You're welcome, Hanno.
I will tell Hasdrubal. He may want to check the place himself.
We need to go.
Well, that's a bummer. And once again, I noticed that we received no reward for completing that quest. I mean, we did max out our rep, I guess that's something. And to be fair, I suppose they did tell us where the ruins were in the first place, and we found some pretty choice salvage out there, which we would not have otherwise acquired. Alright, let's go ahead and dump all this vendor trash. And I believe Hanno should have a Cloak of Protection and a Periaptive Enchantment for us. Both of which we should be able to afford. Just getting a gander at his primed gear real quick. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for the Cloak of Protection, which will go to Thygor. That'll be a nice boost to his defensives, and then he'll pass the chimes off to Garvin. We do not need the Bracers of Archery. Though I suppose we could use the Amulet of Health. But we don't really have much in the way of open neck slots. And I feel like we've gotten so much use out of that Necromancy Resistance Amulet, I'd really kind of like to keep it. I guess we could drop the Gem of Seeing. Bump Garvin's con up to 19. That would also have the benefit of boosting Spiegel's hit points as well. And really play into the whole sort of Oridin thing that he and Spiegel will have going on once they get past 10. That's a maybe. And I guess he does not have a Periaptive Enchanting. Okay, well, I guess that's it for now. The Cloak of Protection is still a pretty nice get, so that'll have to do for the moment. Let's go ahead and get the cloak set up. Shuffle the chimes over to Garvin. So at this point, I feel like most of our attunement slots are pretty firmly set. With the exception of the Gem of Seeing, and maybe the Cloak of Elven Kind. Possibly the chimes as well, if we pick up Knock at some point. Alright, folks. We're done with the mysterious ruins, and we still have time to kill. Let's hit the pause button real quick. I'll take a look at our options, and we'll figure out where we're going from here. And we're back. Okay, so we are going to investigate the mysterious gate here in the Forge Camp. The one that Hasdrubal claims leads to ancient, untold Manicolan riches. Quite a claim for someone who has consistently failed to pay us for services rendered, but maybe third time's the charm. My main concern was that it would just lock us into some sort of point of no return, since we are starting to get into that part of the campaign. But, no, we should be good to go. Let us venture forth, my friends. Untold riches await. Swanky. Man, I'd love to have a library like that. Alright, first things first, let's make sure we're tracking the quest. And according to our journal, we've got a very difficult fight ahead of us. So we'll want to get our buffs set up before we go any further.
Solasta, Abio, Veribe.
Natura, Muto, Viribe.
Arcana, Muto, Viribe.
Solasta, Abio, Clipe.
Let's see what we've got in here before we risk opening that door. Oh, nice. An assortment of high-end crafting ingredients. And recipes. Wand of Winter, Wand of Thorns, Wand of Blight, Stormbinder Warhammer. That sounds promising. We'll have to give that a closer look. And then Maul of the Destroyer. I think that's what we're actually making right now for Eben. Shoot, okay. So we do need a Blood Ruby for that. But that also indicates it's a +2 weapon, while the Cloud Diamond part implies that it's an electrical weapon. And while I do like the idea of having a magic wand, from what I've seen thus far, they all require attunement. Yeah. Wasting an attunement slot on getting one spell-like ability per day just doesn't seem worth it. Maul of the Destroyer is the one we're already making. And let's have a look at that Warhammer. Stormbinder Warhammer. +2 Warhammer that also inflicts 1d10 +2 lightning damage. Holy moly. That is easily the most powerful single-handed weapon we've seen thus far. So I think we just found Thygor's endgame weapon. So we need a Blood Ruby and a Primed Warhammer.
This place is incredible.
Incredibly dangerous, more like.
Agreed, Mora. I am not liking the vibe here. This place seems way too well maintained to be abandoned. And we've got an Iron Golem. That is not what Hasdrubal told us was in here. He said it was greater elementals, which, in theory, we could have just banished. You know, pending savings throw. Alright, let's get a closer look. So 3rd edition Iron Golems had high damage resistance and a poison breath weapon. Also, we've got a Fire Osprey. Not exactly a greater elemental, but slightly closer to what Hasdrubal described. I'm assuming it's not just the one. We've probably got like a flock of them in there somewhere. Those at least we can banish, but honestly, they're weak enough that we might not bother. Though they are flyers, that makes them pretty obnoxious. The Iron Golem is definitely our heavy hitter here. I think that's the first enemy we've seen in quite some time that's been tagged as deadly. But I think we can do this. Iron Golems are immune to most magic back in 3.5, but I don't know how much of that carried over into 5th edition. And I'm not sure how that would interplay with something like Thorn Spikes, which are technically magic, but delivering physical damage. Would that bypass his physical damage resistance? Oh, what the heck. We've already got backup saves set. Might as well try it. We will engage from the doorway here, and that'll help us control their approach. We'll slap down a spike field, that'll slow down the golem, hopefully buy us a turn or two, while the fire ospreys rush in. And they won't be able to flank us as easily because they'll have to go over our fighters, which will draw attacks of opportunity, at least in theory. And then if our back line starts getting overwhelmed, we've got Twinned Banish to fall back on. RNG willing. No point in a fireball, but fire ospreys might be vulnerable to ice. And part of this is physical, so in theory, it should damage the golem as well. Okay, here we go. Fire Elemental in back.
Get us all killed.
And yes, damage on both. Nice. Let's pull back slightly into the door frame. Prep for incoming.
Curses. My fault.
Hey, look at that. Oh man, very nice, very nice. That's almost a third of its health gone. We'll keep Spiegel back. Too risky to put him up front, so he'll be like a second-line buffer to protect the casters. Right, these things explode. I do remember these things now from the volcano in Crown of the Magister. You know what? Let's go for Twinned Banish right out the starting gate. See if we can buy ourselves some breathing room before the golem hits us.
Solasta, Abio, Malmis.
Okay. That's fantastic. They are gone, but only as long as we can maintain concentration.
Just where it hurts most.
Oh my goodness. So they get a blast and 2 burning touches per round. That is not ideal. Thygor's resistance isn't going to help against any of that. The Ospreys are relatively frail, though.
Natura muto viribe.
Well done.
We'll focus fire on it with our left flank. Have Thygor hold the Iron Golem on the right. And there's the poison breath, but I believe that's just once per fight. So it should just be physical attacks from here on out. Thygor can handle those.
More.
You know what? No, we're not going to risk 2 hits here. We'll go for automatic guaranteed damage.
Solasta, Evo, Malmis. You're not coming back.
And that's another Osprey down. With 1 more incoming. Ooh, heals. That takes the edge off, but we'll need more from Garvin.
I thought you could fight!
Come on, buddy. There you go. Okay, we'll take it. We've got him just past half. But this could still go terribly wrong. Let's do a full cure.
Natura evo cura.
You are a true savior.
Thank you, Garvin. I'm thinking Call Lightning next round, just to see if it works.
No quarter given.
2/3 down. Getting there. Ow. Nice. Thygor is taking it like a champ.
You suck.
Garvin, please. Let's go for the golem this time.
Solasta, Evo.
Nice, not immune to force damage. Spiegel is on fire.
Most unfortunate that.
Almost. Almost.
Natura conjo malmens.
Not immune to electricity.
Deal with it.
Oh. Even with resistance, that one hurt. I think we've got this, though. We can drop the Iron Golem with magic missiles. Then it's just the Osprey.
Solasta, Evo. Mummies. You lose.
See, if I was a really mean dungeon master, this would be about the point where I'd have that thing go after Mora to try to force a concentration check.
Again, harder. Natura encho malmens. That's battle.
You're done like the rest.
And with that, banishment finally takes. Our remaining foes are cast back into the fires of the elemental plane from whence they came. Not too shabby. That was fun. I feel like we really hit a good tactical groove there, and everything just kind of fell our way. And a lot of interesting scenery. A full set of primed rogue gear. The leather might come in handy if we go that route with Mora. We do have recipes for +2 leather. Prime chain is just sales fodder. We've already got magic plate. Collapsed door to prevent us from going further. Ooh, the Silver Scarab. Aside from being one of my favorite obscure DC heroes, that will get us into that mysterious jungle temple that we passed on the way in. Way back in, like, episode 3. Plus, even more crafting ingredients. And some primed weapons, which we're not going to get much use out of. You know, the thought does occur, given that this is labeled as a lab, and we have a locked door here that clearly leads somewhere else. We may have just raided Oranitis' private stash. Because he did have a sealed lab just off his throne room that I've been curious about for quite a while now. We haven't lost any rep with him, so... maybe? But I mean, I guess technically he wouldn't even know we'd done it yet. Alright, folks, we're past time, so I feel like this is a good place to call it. We'll refrain from turning this quest in for now. I'd like to go double check first to make sure we're not hitting a point of no return by doing it. Because I have been warned, we're venturing into that minefield at this point, where a lot of the various quests that are coming up could end up locking us into specific ending paths. And I am not quite ready to bite that bullet. Especially since, in theory, we just unlocked a whole new dungeon. The mysterious jungle temple back in the Verdant Valley. So, yes, we will hit the pause button for now. I'll do some light research, careful to avoid story spoilers, and we'll pick up here next time. If it turns out it's safe to turn the quest in, we'll do that. If not, we won't. But either way, I think we're going to go check out that jungle temple. They buried that second key pretty deep and put it behind a pretty tough fight. So in theory, there should be something really good waiting for us back at that temple. And I assume something extraordinarily deadly. See you then. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Solasta Lost Valley, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official website, the official social media feeds, or the official store pages. And if you'd like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things, or maybe even check out the Patreon. Links are in the description.
I will tell Hasdrubal. He may want to check the place himself.